I call myself Andy Street Artist. I've been drawing for 7 years in Trafalgar Square. When I draw in Trafalgar Square, it's like fleeting, it's just there for a moment. A bit like the crossroads of the world. In Trafalgar Square on a sunny day, loads of tourists there. There was two guys there, about the same age as me. He said to me, Andy, if you're not too busy, tomorrow I'm in Trafalgar Square, I'll be writing my poetry out. So I went up there, saw him. He asked me to draw a globe, a map of the world. And I'd done it. He was very happy. He said, oh, that's really good. You should have a spot. You should do some drawing, beside me. I started drawing there. After about a couple of weeks, I'd be like quite late at night. So I used to start sleeping up there for like 1 or 2 days and then come back for a shower and then go back up there. In the first couple of years, I would start to draw more animals. I ended up drawing Paddington Bear, and that was interesting. Talking to mothers and children, that's more trying to draw the beauty of nature. In the first year, I got more and more inspired. I think there's a lot of lonely people in London. Being in Trafalgar Square and you're like a permanent fixture, you're there all the time. I've been doing faces recently because I've been moved by Ukraine and Iran. So many of these things are happening. Every Friday and Saturday, there's all the demonstrations end up in Trafalgar Square. If I see a demonstration, I need to go over and see what it's about. When the recent invasion happened, at night time there was a spontaneous groups of Ukrainians just turned up at Trafalgar Square, and they were there singing the Ukrainian national anthem, waving the Ukrainian flags. Then we go back and see on the internet what's actually going on. I don't know about the politics of it all, but I'm hearing that a lot of suffering is happening in Ukraine, and they didn't need to die on that day. I drew that in Trafalgar Square. I drew this carnage of suffering because they're tourists on holiday, and the mood changes because they suddenly hear this story. I'm reaching people in some way. I don't even know exactly why I'm doing it or what I'm trying to achieve by it, but I know that it's moved somebody because they've heard this story that people in Ukraine may have heard of, but people over here wouldn't hear it. When I'm drawing, it's like a little island. I've got all my chalks there, my money there, my possessions there. I try not to focus on the money, to say, no, it's okay, I'm not accepting money today. My neighbour, who's Iranian, she said, oh, there's a big demonstration. So I went up there was protests and everything. Go home and I'd look at all the videos. You get to see the horrors of this world, terrible things that have happened. And then I started to draw things about Iran. Drawing Gina Mahsa Amini, Serena Esmail Zadek, who's a 16-year-old girl who was a YouTuber, and she got beaten to death on the Iranian protest. And I drew Nikah Shakarami, another 16 or 17-year-old girl who also got murdered by the Islamic regime. And I was questioning myself on the train because people were in tears. People come up to me with real emotion. It's happening to their families, and I felt very privileged. It's a way that you can express your care for them. It's a focal point for the people in Trafalgar Square. The other day, I'd done a drawing about Iran. 2 women in Iran, their mother and daughter, they walk into a greengrocer's, a dairy, and they're not wearing head coverings. And this guy comes, you must have seen him down the street, because he comes in very fast, straight to them and confronts them. He's saying, why are you not wearing a head covering? And they're saying, we don't have to or something. And then he turns to the shopkeeper, just grabs some yogurt and throws it really brutally. The drawing, I have to think about portions of the shop. How am I going to get this message? This man is throwing yogurt on two women and the shopkeeper. I think I'm trying to think of the emotion. I saw it was a small video. I mean, it's a small incident. It's like if something happened in a shop round the corner. That little story, I had like 4 lots of Iranians tell me about the shopkeeper. Everybody went to his shop and bought stuff. They appreciated what he'd done. 3 lots of different people speak to me in Farsi because they think I'm Iranian. You're not Iranian? Oh, why are you doing this? But I also met people from the Netherlands and a couple from Mexico. They'd seen the same story as well. If I draw something and it's there all day long, at night time, and I look over and I see there's like 4 people standing still looking at my drawing, and you think, oh, it's still having an effect. I kind of feel that in a small way that I'm affecting people. I like the idea of drawing in Trafalgar Square. I meet people from all around the world. It's a very unique place to be. And I said, it's a little bit like being on a stage, because we're there all the time. Anybody else, they walk through Trafalgar Square, they see the buskers, they go to the National Gallery. But if you're there all the time, all the people that are moving through from all around the world are moving through past you. They'd like to talk to somebody. They sit on the wall for a while, maybe like half an hour. Nobody talks to them, they don't know them. And then they walk away quite sad because they haven't had that experience. You'd have an experience of interacting with another culture. In Trafalgar Square, after we've been there for 7 years, it's only this year that they've said you need to have a license and a public liability. I'm going to buy a boat, and then wherever that is, maybe above Birmingham somewhere, I'll make my way down to London. What my friend Jack said is like, once you leave a place, it's like you move on to a new thing. We'll see what happens.